We all know that our policymakers, our leaders, need an analytical perspective, and they need all sorts of views, and they need a deep sense and knowledge of history, which is why we have invited Sanford Jacoby here as to honor Robert Heilbroner to be our main speaker tonight in the lecture series. Sanford Jacoby right here, is an historian and an economist. He is teaching at a business school. He's a professor of management at University of California, Los Angeles' Anderson School of Management. And he's going to present a lecture narrowly focused on the future of capitalism. That was a joke. It will actually talk about the intersection and the involvement of the real economy and the finance economy. The lecture tonight is called Finance and Labor, Perspectives on Risk, Inequality, and Democracy. After his talk, I am going to introduce our panelists who are economists, but they come from three sectors of our economy: from the finance sector, from the real economy, from the labor movement, and from the mediator, the referee of those two economies, from government. And I'll introduce you when we start the panel. But I now present Sanford Jacoby. Thank you.
Well, it's a great honor to be here and in the New School. I just wanted to say a word about why it's important to me personally to be here this evening. The New School has been important in my life. I reflected on the different ways in which it's been important. And one is that, like the intellectuals who turned the Rand Institute, which was what the New School was once called, into the New School, my family was made up of German Jewish refugees who came to New York City in the 1930s, and I grew up 170 blocks north of here. And I think it was the combination of the Rand Institute and those refugee intellectuals that made and continues to make the New School distinctive, a place where there's a tradition of critical thought. Okay, well, I'm on. And I think that Robert Heilbroner was an exemplar of that tradition of critical thought. So it's really an honor to be here for a lecture named after him. And I knew Robert Heilbroner through his writings, and I can tell you that I'm no Robert Heilbroner, but I'll do my best. The New School was also important in shaping me as an economist. I took my first economics course from sadly now deceased man called Bennett Harrison. He was my first economics professor, and he was a man of great intellectual rigor as well as public engagement, and inspired me